All right, I'm going to show you how I do my oat milk, and this is going to include, of course, these nice little canvas bags here that I'm going to go and put into a plastic container, and I just hold it on the lip just like this. I've got a blender, and I'll get a nice deep measuring cup, but you're only going to need about 4 cups at a time. You'll want to put in some ice with the water, because if you just put in regular old water, it makes it kind of sludgy, and you want to avoid that altogether. So what I'll do is I'll just grab a handful of ice and throw it into the cup here, and we're going to fill it up with some filtered water. It's up to you if you want to just do regular water or bottled water, however you want to do it. Okay, I'm going to be doing numerous batches here, so the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drop in the 4 cups of water. We'll take 1 cup of oats. You do not need to process these ahead of time. So just 1 cup, drop it on in there. Since I'm going to be going one batch after the other, I'm just going to go ahead and load up the ice now for the next batch. All right, that's ready to rock and roll. I've got mason jars that I'm using to store my oat milk in, and typically the oat milk, I try not to let it go beyond 1 week of having it. But it's usually gone before then because my wife and I enjoy this. So this is just a regular sized mason jar with some mason lids as well. So this works out really, really nicely. But I will typically fill up 1 of these and have a little bit left over afterwards. So you'll see here in just a moment. I'm going to run this, process it on high, and we're going to go for about 30 seconds altogether. And I typically just kind of count in my head as I go along. All right, it is ready to go. So the very next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to take it, pour it right into that bag, all of it. Make sure the pulp's in there as well. Before I go squeezing it out, since I'm going to do numerous batches, I'm just going to take the 4 cups, drop it in there, get my next batch going. Got that filling up right there. Let's drop in, again, 4 cups, ice cold water, 1 cup oats. We're good to go. And so here's how it goes. You can take and you can seal it shut if you want to, but what I typically do is I'll just grab the opening and I'll twist it. And I just kind of twist it down and I slowly squeeze. Now there's some people that like to let it drip out on its own. They feel like it gets sludgy. I have never had issues. I don't put any extra ingredients in this. It's strictly just oats and water. No salt, no vanilla, none of these extra things that some of the people say. I think it's more than sufficient the way it is. So I just slowly just work it down and squeeze it out. This will definitely work on your grip strength if you're looking for some way to train your hands. But you can see we're getting down to almost the last of it here. Great. And now what I can do is just set it off to the side, and I'm going to clean it out later. Now when I do clean it out later, I'm going to take it, turn inside out, drop out the pulp, get rid of that. You can always use that for a recipe, but I've always been lazy about it. So here we go, taking the mason jar, gonna drop it right in there. Fill it all the way up to the top, and boom. I'm gonna grab the next one, same thing. So you see, there's about, I don't know, about 1/3 that's left in there. So, gonna do the same thing now. We're gonna grab the bag, put it into here, and it's ready to rock and roll. I'm gonna seal this one up since we're done with that one. Make sure it's good and tight. There we go. This one's waiting for some more milk in it. So now, another 30 seconds on this one. Same thing as last time. We're gonna take it, dump it into the bag, all the contents, get it out of there. Good to go. It's a little bit of an assembly line, so all we have to do is just take the water, dump it in, load it up for the next round. 1 cup to 4 cups of ice water. That's ready to go. All right, that ice water is ready to go for the next batch after this. I'm going to take it, close up the opening, twist it, and then just keep pushing it down. You'll notice like air will push through initially, but after that it'll start to squeeze out. I recommend you get a good deep bowl like this or even deeper because it does splash a little bit. You'll get a little bit on your clothes if you're not careful, so maybe wearing an apron might be a good idea. Or if you don't care like I do, you just let it go. Okay, sealed up that jar. We're ready for the next one. Gonna grab the cloth sack here, put it on in. We're ready for the next round. Second verse, same as the first. We're just gonna dump it in the bag, get all the contents out, load it up. Ice cubes, 4 cups water. Got the 4 cups of ice water already here. Gonna dump that in. I'm gonna squeeze out this last batch, closing up, twist, squeeze down. When I initially got these bags, they were a little bit more rigid and it was harder to squeeze through. But I found that the more I've had these, the more they kind of cooperate with me and it's not as hard to squeeze. So if you don't have very good grip strength on this, don't worry, it's not that hard. There we go. And if you miss a little bit, it's not a big deal. Toss that off to the side. This one. Get out, put it on. I'm going to run this real quick. You'll find that when the oat milk sets for a little bit, it'll start to separate. So when you do go into your fridge and access it later on, it's a good idea to shake it up. This is why mason jars, you want to make sure it's a good solid seal when you come down here. Because if it's not a solid seal, you're going to have oat milk going everywhere. So make sure it's down there good and sealed before you shake it up real good. Separation will happen. It'll look kind of weird at first too. Don't worry, it's totally fine though. I'm gonna twist and squeeze. All right, make sure that we seal this up. From time to time, I've noticed sometimes these lids, the outside here, they'll get bent in the dishwasher. So be prepared, that might happen and it might not securely go on top. If that's the case, just toss it out and order a new one. All right, we're getting there. Okay, there's a little bit of pulp in here. I'm not worried about it. 4 cups of ice water. I think we're getting down to the last of it. One cup of oats, covered up, 30 seconds. Dump it in the bag. I believe we'll have enough for one more batch. Four cups ice water. 1 cup of oats. It's ready to blend. I'm going to go ahead and empty this out first. Got one of these small mason jars. Must always have some type of a spill off, so this helps. So I've got 7 of the large size mason jars and 1 of the half size. All right, we are ready to go. Last batch. I found this oat milk is great for many recipes. I use it for pancakes, protein shakes, you name it, this can pretty much be used for it. If you want to have more flavor to it, obviously, you can look into other recipes where they add dates into it. I think I've seen one where they put bananas in for sweetness and things like that. Me personally, I like to have my oat milk nice and plain, and I can add all those sweeteners to whatever I need to in a recipe. So important that you get that seal down there really good, because there's been so many times that I didn't do it properly, and then when I go to shake it, it gets milk everywhere. But as you can see, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and a half all done on this one right here. And I believe that was with 8 bags, 7 bags, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 bags. So not bad. You can definitely do some damage with this. Again, this usually lasts me about roughly a week. I wouldn't let it go any longer inside your fridge because it will start to settle. Again, remember to shake it up. Look up different recipes that you can be able to use these with. I really love doing some oat pancakes because then I use the oat milk for it and it really helps out. By the way, it makes things super thick too as well. But that's really the only process outside of this is how I clean it out. So I will essentially take it, turn it inside out. Now you can use this pulp for just about anything. I know it's 100% wasteful and some people will probably lose their mind when I tell you that I just get rid of it. What I'll do is I'll take warm water, put it up underneath there, and I just wash it by hand. Could you throw this into your washer? Sure, but you're going to end up with a bunch of food particles inside your washing machine, and that's probably not the best idea. This is why I will take it and thoroughly wipe it out, so that way it doesn't have a whole bunch of food on the inside. So I'll just go through and I do the same thing on all these ones right here. So these are reusable, and what I will typically do is I'll throw it in with my dish towels or any type of other towels and such. I won't throw it in with my clothes because just in case there's some oats on here, I'm not trying to have oats all over my clothes.